All right, and here we are again. Welcome to week 2. This is what we'll be going over in class on Tuesday. So if you are supposed to be coming to class on Tuesday, then you will hear it, and you probably are not listening to this video. But those of you who are scheduled for class on Thursday, this is your video for the week. So what we're going to talk about today is building on what you learned in English 1101, and we're also going to talk a little bit about the purpose of research writing and helping you choose your topic. If you have not turned in an attendance verification assignment yet, please do that now. I'm recording this on Monday, but you'll probably be watching this on Tuesday, if not after that. But Tuesday is the last day for attendance verification. So if you've not turned in your student commitment form or done that discussion, you have until 4 o'clock today to do that. If you have not, and it's past 4 o'clock on Tuesday, then you might get dropped from the class and have to go through that whole reinstatement process, which is not fun. So just make sure you do it if you haven't done it. A couple of other announcements. I want to make sure that you do the weekly quiz. I'll post them on Thursday. And then those are due by Sunday. So they cover all of the information for the week. So make sure that you do that before Sunday at 11:59. Make sure you submit before that time. Just starting it before that time is not going to help you out. You have to submit it before that time. They don't take very long, and that is how you get your second day of attendance every week, other than actually coming to class on your scheduled day. You will also be turning in your proposed research topic for the semester to D2L by this Friday, which is the 29th. So make sure you start thinking about that. If you are not sure what you want to be researching, then make sure that you talk to me. I can help you. But again, make sure it's something that you really care about, because you're going to be dealing with it the entire semester. So let's go over what the reading was in the book for this class. First of all, talking about writing. What is the purpose of writing? As the book states, it's to think and communicate, to clarify and articulate your thoughts, and to communicate ideas. So you are going to mostly in this class be thinking and communicating your arguments about the different topics you choose to me and your audience through your papers. So you want to work on being able to clarify those and make them easy to understand for any audience. Talk about what are some examples of writing that because I know some of you said you don't like writing, and I get that. Not everyone loves it, but there are examples of writing that you do in the past, or you do all the time, you have to do in your career. I mean, you've written papers for other classes, even text messages, things like that. That's something you have to think about. Have you ever had a text message argument with someone, when you have to craft your argument and get the most bang for your buck when it comes to your words when you're trying to type stuff out? You're thinking about that. That's how you're crafting and thinking and communicating your ideas and your argument. And also think about, when it comes to your career, pretty much any career you have, you're going to have to do some sort of writing, whether it be reports, whether it be emails, I have a lot of people that talk about they want to do business marketing and things like that. That's a lot of writing. Forensic science, you got to write reports, you got to do that research. A lot of different things that you are going to be required to do. People want to be doctors and attorneys and things like that. You've got to do a lot of writing. You've got to do, doctors a lot of times have to do research papers, things like that. So there are a lot of different careers that you're going to have to learn somewhat how to do the writing, where you can clarify and tell people what exactly it is that you are, what you're trying to argue. So I'm sure everyone gets writer's block. I know I get writer's block. It's very annoying just staring at a blank page. But here are some tips for overcoming writer's block. Don't procrastinate. I know that's something that's very hard to do. I'm a procrastinator. I used to be really bad at it. I'm not as bad at it now. I'm still obviously doing things the day before they're due, because you need this video tomorrow and I'm doing it on Monday, but I don't wait till the very, very last minute, because if you get to the very last minute and then you can't think of anything to write, then where are you? So make sure that even if you just do a little piece of it at a time, but start early enough that you have plenty of time, that if you run into issues, the Wi-Fi goes out or your computer crashes or something like that, that you give yourself plenty of time to get everything completed. start with free writing to get all your ideas on paper. Just write out everything that you're thinking, even if you don't think it makes any sense or it's not something that you're going to use, because that idea that you write out may somehow lead you to the topic that you really want to talk about. So just writing anything out, just not editing yourself, just writing everything you think can get you to the topic that you want. Following your inspiration, think about the things that you care about. What inspires you? What makes you excited? Like, what are the subjects that you always want to talk about? Think about those kind of things, because that is something that's going to help you pick a good topic. And also, if you're inspired to write then. I'm also a painter, and I'm one of those people, I took art classes and I couldn't stand taking art classes because I didn't like when somebody said, you have to paint this now. I like to follow my inspiration. And of course, it never fails that my inspiration comes at like 10 o'clock at night. But when you feel like writing, you come up with an idea, put it down then, start working then, because that way you can feed off that energy and you can go for it. Breaking the writing project into parts is a big thing. You don't have to sit down and write the entire thing all at once unless you've procrastinated, in which case you will have to do that. Another reason not to do that. So if you start and kind of schedule yourself and say, okay, I'm going to write this particular body paragraph on this day, I'm going to write my intro on this day. If you break it down into pieces, then it seems more manageable than thinking about, I got to write a 7-page paper today. Make sure you look over those assignment sheets I give you. There's questions in a lot of them that you straight up have to answer the questions. Taking time to read those assignment sheets and answer those questions, that's going to fill out your paper for you. So make sure you're doing everything that's asked of you in the assignment. Talk to somebody else about it. If you're thinking about what you're trying to write about and you're stuck, talk to your roommate, talk to somebody in your family, talk to a friend, and just say, look, I'm writing this paper about this and I don't really know where to go with it. Then they can help you. They can give you some idea that can help lead you. Maybe just talking through it in general will help you get started. Visualizing a friendly audience. Don't imagine that you're writing for scary professors and mean people that are going to give you bad grades. Think about somebody that is willing to listen to what you have to say, as I am. I'm not here to judge your argument. I'm just here to judge how you write it. So think about that. Think about someone who's very receptive to what you have to say and write for that person. Take a break. Don't take, hours and hours. Don't watch like 3 movies on Netflix. That's kind of a little bit of a long break. But there's such a thing called a Pomodoro timer that I like to use, where it breaks down the work into smaller pieces. So it's usually 25 minutes of work with a 5-minute break. And you do that several times, and then you take a longer break. So taking breaks, getting up, walking around, getting something to eat, returning a text message, something like that, that can kind of help you take a breather and then be able to get back to your work. Change locations. I'm one of those people, I like for it to be very quiet. I can't work at Starbucks or, in a loud dorm room or things like that. So if something's not working where you are, go somewhere else. Go to the library. Go work outside. Go somewhere else and see if that inspiration comes to you there. When you're talking about selecting the appropriate voice and pronouns, so voice is your point of view. It's what you use to convince your audience that you have something important to say. And you're going to be focused throughout this class on that academic formal voice. You want to present yourself as educated, well-informed, and rational. You don't want to write like you're talking to your friend necessarily. You're going to write as if you are speaking to an academic audience. When it comes to pronouns, now this first assignment, you're going to be talking about how you chose your topic and how you narrowed it down and why you're interested in it. So you're going to be using the I there. You're going to be saying, I did this, I chose it for this reason, that kind of thing. When you get to other papers in this class, you will not be using I in there. You will just be using third person. Now you, which is second person, is never used in academic writing unless it's part of a quote from a source. Don't start with, imagine you are in this situation. Take it third person. So make it a he, she, they kind of situation. So imagine an American, a student, a person. Think about taking it third person, because that's what, when it comes to academic writing, you need to stay with the third person. So the he, she, they, or particular proper nouns is what you're going to use. But definitely not you, and only in this first assignment will you be using I. So here's some examples, weak examples. I surfed the internet. I found a lot of articles I couldn't trust because I didn't see any authors' names or sponsoring organizations. If I'm reading that, I'm thinking, well, I surf the internet and I find good stuff, so I can't connect to this. As we surf the internet, we frequently find articles we cannot trust because we do not find authors' names or sponsoring organizations. Who is we? What we are you talking about? When you say we, you're trying to include every single person that might be reading this. And you can't make assumptions about your audience that they're going to agree with you. That's why you can't use we and our. As one surfs the internet, one frequently finds articles one cannot trust because one cannot find authors' names or sponsoring organizations. Now that's technically third person, but it's very annoying to read. So that's a tool that you can use, but you don't necessarily have to in that case. So the stronger example from the book here is surfing the internet for source information is unreliable because many articles do not indicate their authors or sponsoring organizations. There are no pronouns in there at all. See how they've taken that entirely out? And so surfing the internet has become the subject of the sentence rather than trying to pick a particular pronoun to use there. Key points of that section: writing is an effective way to clarify and articulate and communicate your thoughts. Writer's block does not have to stall the writing process, even though it seems like it does, but make sure that you can figure out what techniques you can use to overcome it, and make sure that you adopt your formal voice and the pronoun that's appropriate for your purpose in writing your essay. All right, so the next part we read was the purpose of research writing. So when you think about what do you do when you don't know the answer to a question? When I was younger, if we didn't know the answer to a question, we just didn't know. There wasn't Google and there wasn't ways to just check things on the internet and that kind of stuff. We didn't have phones like that. You had to ask somebody. If they didn't know, then you still didn't know. But usually these days, what you do is you Google it. You look it up on a phone. You look in Wikipedia, not the best source, but you can get information from Wikipedia, especially if it's just some kind of generic thing you want to know. So when we talk about the process overview of research writing, really what we're talking about today is the choosing your topic here. But that's what you got to start with. You got to choose your topic, and then you start planning and scheduling your writing. You got to figure out when that paper's due, all the different pieces that are due, and make sure that you give yourself plenty of time to get everything done. Then you're going to be conducting your research, and we're going to talk about that. We're going to work through the Galileo and the library websites and things like that. Then you've got to organize all that mess. Sorry, my dog just sneezed, and I think he's going to do it again. And then you've got to organize everything that you've got. So you found all these sources, but you may not be able to use all of them. So you're going to have to organize, narrow down, figure out exactly what it is that you're going to use. Then you actually start writing that paper. After you write your paper, please do not turn in a first draft to me because that is a mess, usually. Make sure you're going to go back and revise and edit that paper. So we will be talking about all of these different pieces of the writing process as we go through the class. But today, mostly we're talking about choosing your topic, which, there you go, choosing your topic. So to narrow the focus of your topic, brainstorm using pre-writing techniques, and we're going to talk about that in a second. Starting with your topic, formulate a specific research question, a broad, open-ended question that will guide your research, as well as propose a possible answer or a working thesis. What is a working thesis? Think about a working title. What's a working title in a movie? That means it's the title they have for now. It's a placeholder. This is what the title is, but it may change. So the thesis that you come up with, the research question you come up with for this particular assignment may change. It may not be the final research question that you are going to be talking about when you actually get to your research argument. Your topic is going to stay the same. You can't change your topic, so you've got to pick something, like I said, that you care about. But as you do research, that question might change depending on the information you find or your interest in the topic and things like that. So what are some pre-writing techniques? Here they are. Brainstorming, thinking about brainstorming and free writing kind of go together. So thinking of everything that you can think of related to that topic. You have this particular topic, think about every aspect of it. Asking questions about it. So the who, what, when, where, why, and how. Those questions can usually, who does this affect? When was this a problem? Is it still a problem? Think about how is it different as, in the past as it is today? Where is this a situation that it is a problem? Is it different here than it is in other countries? Things like that. Listing things, just writing lists. I love writing lists. I have lists of stuff everywhere. Idea mapping, I don't know if you're familiar with that. That's where you draw the circle with the main topic and then you draw lines off of it with other circles, so it ends up making a big bubble map, I think they call it sometimes, where it shows you all the different, you come up with all the different topics related to your topic, so smaller topics within the larger topic. Think about your experience and your observation. Think about things that are going on around you. Think about your own family experience, your life experience. What are things that have happened to you, happened to your family, that is something you may want to talk about, something that you may want to explore. Think about things in your own lives. And also reading. Go to the newspaper, probably the newspaper online. Usually only old people actually read a real newspaper. But go to the New York Times, go to the Washington Post, go to the Savannah Morning News. Like, go to the different news organizations and figure out, what are people talking about? What are they writing about? Those are some things you might be finding extra information about. So when you choose your topic, think about this. You've got your topic. You need to identify the topic, obviously, and then you're going to focus it down to a research question. And then you are going to figure out your paths of inquiry. In other words, how can you find out information about this particular topic? All right, so after you identify your topic, think carefully about what you want to research, because you will be working with this topic for the entire semester. Make sure you choose a topic that will fulfill the assignment. Go back and look at those assignment sheets and make sure that it's going to go along with that. So make sure it's timely, interesting, arguable, and researchable. So think about something that people are talking about today. You aren't going to necessarily talk about something that was a problem 100 years ago. Think about things that are a problem today. Make sure it's something interesting that people would like to talk about, that people would like to read about. Make sure there's an argument behind it. You can't write about why the sky is blue. We know the sky is blue. Something that people have different points of view on, and make sure it's something that you can find research on. Again, find something that genuinely interests you. And again, if you have trouble, just you can come to me. Brainstorm a list of every idea you can think of and every topic that interests you, and then maybe you can find something through that. Then you have to focus it down. So once you have your list, ask yourself, will you be able to find enough information about this topic? Can you take an arguable position on this topic? Can you make an argument about it that somebody else will go, actually, no, I don't think that's true? Think of it that way. Is the topic too broad or too narrow for the scope of the assignment? So if so, can you make it, modify the topic so it's more manageable? So you think about, like I've mentioned in class, global warming. You can't say, I'm going to write a paper about global warming, because that's a huge topic. But you can talk about effects on different areas of the world, people versus animals. What are the causes of it? What changes can be made to slow global warming down? Think about things like that. And do that for every topic on your list to think about which one is the most viable choice. So the one that you can come up with, you think of the most information, and that you can have that arguable position, and that you think is the right size topic, not too narrow, not too broad, then pick the one that you think is going to work the best. Remember, you have to formulate a thesis statement that answers your research questions, so you can't say everything about your topic. You can't write a paper that covers everything about every topic. You have got to narrow it down to a specific area and focus. Again, if you have trouble with that, let me know and I can help you. Strategies for focusing your topic. Make a pro-con list to see if there's like a major issue. What is a major argument about these different topics that you're thinking about? Do some reading. Look up some research. Go to the news. See what people are saying. Google it and see what the different arguments are. And what are people saying online. Discuss the topic with somebody and see, what they think about it. See if they have a different point of view. Ask yourself, what aspect of this topic do I care about the most? Think about if you can, like I said, if you think about global warming, but I care about the animals the most. So that's going to be something that I would prefer to write about, rather than I don't want to write a whole paper about car exhaust or something like that and its effect on the ozone layer. Go to the library, ask the staff. Now, the staff of the library have all the information there. They can tell you that, what kind of information they have about the different topics, and they can help you shape your topic. You don't even have to go to the library. We're going to talk about that a little bit more later on, but they have a chat function online. You can text people at the library, so you can talk to them and say, hey, I'm thinking about writing this paper about global warming, but I got to narrow it down. What are some ideas? Do y'all have a lot of information about it? And they can help you and guide you and help you find what you need. Determining your paths of inquiry. So remember, inquire is to ask a question, right? So what do you want to learn and say about this topic? What is the main research question you want to answer? So what is going to be the focus of your paper? And make sure that you think of a specific enough question that it can be covered in 7 pages, but it's not too specific where you make sure that you can find enough research on it. Also think about sub-questions, so whose answers will feed into the main question. So think about your main question being your thesis statement and the sub-questions being the body of the paper, that all those answers in your of your sub-questions actually do help answer the main question or respond to your thesis. Your main research question should be substantial enough to form the guiding principle of your paper, but focused enough to guide your research. We'll talk about that more as we go along. A strong research question requires you to not only find the information, but also to put together different pieces of information, interpret and analyze them, and figure out what you think. So you have to not only pick your position, but you also need to be able to use the sources you find, analyze them, not just regurgitate them, not just say, this is what the source says. You have to analyze it. You have to take it a step further and tell me, okay, this is what the source says. This is why it's important to my thesis. From your pre-writing and preliminary research, write both simple, factual questions and more complex questions that will require analysis and interpretation to answer. So we've got an example from the book. Main question for this person's paper: are low carbohydrate diets as effective as they have been portrayed to be by media sources? So that's the main question. That's what the paper is going to answer is, are they actually effective like they say in the news? And then these are some sub-questions. You think about these being topics for body paragraphs. Who can benefit from following a low-carb diet? What are the supposed advantages of following one? When did low-carb diets become a hot topic in the media? Where do average consumers get information about diet and nutrition? Why has the low-carb approach received so much media attention? Do they even work? So each one of these things you're going to think about. You can research each one of these questions, but all of these questions and information about them help answer, are they actually effective? So think about the little questions, the sub-questions that can lead into your main question there. Then you come up with your working thesis statement. So in general, when you are thinking about your research paper, now not necessarily for this first paper, but for your research paper, your thesis statement will be in the claim, because, reasons format. In other words, my argument is because, and you give me the reasons why. The answer to your research question, because the reasons you're going to tell me in the paper. Thesis statement will be an initial answer to your main research question, and it might change as you do more research. So you have to think about, the more you do research, you may change your ideas, or your question or your answer might change. You can start thinking about it by saying, I believe blah, 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 or my opinion is. Now you're going to remove that first person and just, instead of saying, I believe, just say what it is like it's a fact. Global warming is a problem because, not I believe global warming is a problem because. Take that first person out of there. So an example, the main research question, are low-carb diets as effective they have been portrayed by the media? Low-carb diets do not live up to the media hype surrounding them because. So this is the answer to the question, and then we got because, and you're going to list out answers for, these are the reasons why. These are the reasons I'm going to explore throughout my paper. All right, so these are the assignments that you need to do for the rest of the week. There are 2 articles on the syllabus for Thursday. The links are in the syllabus, so make sure you click on those, read those. Do the attendance verification assignment by 4 p.m. today if you have not already. This is on Tuesday, assuming this is Tuesday for you. Again, it's Monday for me. Make sure you complete your weekly quiz by Sunday. Those are always, like I said, I post them on Thursday, and you have until Sunday to do them. And turn in your proposed research topic and question to D2L by Friday. So if anyone has any questions, feel free to let me know, and I will see you all in class.